Good morning and welcome to another edition of Our Town here on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. Happy Nordic Fest weekend in Decorah, and that's going to be one of our topics of discussion this morning. By the way, I'm your host, Darren Swenson, and Our Town, as always, brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust. Nordic Fest going to be a topic of discussion a little later on in the program. We'll get to know new Decorah Police Chief Tricia Thein, as well as we'll have a conversation with Officer Scott Herman. We'll get to know Tricia, and Scott Herman will talk to us about National Night Out that's coming up next Tuesday night in Decorah. And a lot of stuff going on at Vestherheim, including today a soft opening for the new Commons building, which most of you have seen when you drive down West Water Street in Decorah. And we'll talk to Chivonne Marlow with all that is going on at Vestherheim this weekend. But our first guest this morning is going to be the president of the Nordic Fest board. That is Arianna Cervantes. Arianna will join us and tell us everything that's going on related to Nordic Fest, starting with the opening ceremonies at 6:45 tonight. That is the way we will kick off Our Town. So in the spirit of the weekend, Vel Coleman to Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River.
Okay.
The Nordic Fest 2023 edition will begin tonight at the Courthouse Square with the opening ceremonies at 6:45. Arianna Cervantes is the Fest Board President this year. And Arianna, before we get things going about this year's Fest, how much work does the board put into making sure everything goes as smooth as possible these next 3 days?
Hours. I mean, we plan all year round for this event, but a lot of the work is really done in a couple of weeks leading up to the fest. And so everyone's been really busy. Chamber is sort of our headquarters. We've been in and out all week already, last week and this week. So it really is quite a bit of work.
What got you interested in serving on the Nordic Fest board?
You know, I've always kind of wanted to ever since I knew about Nordic Fest. I've been interested in Scandinavian things ever since I was a child. And so my job up until the last couple of years didn't really allow me to volunteer, but now I have that flexibility and have been able to get involved pretty thoroughly.
And tonight, the events get going with the Courthouse Square opening ceremonies at 6:45. Just kind of run down some of the events that will happen after the Courthouse Square.
Yeah, so we'll have like the regular grand, the opening ceremonies. So that'll be Lurin singers, Nordic dancers, the presentation of all the flags. And then after that, we'll have music down in the beverage garden. And I believe one other canopy as well. So there'll be food booths open that evening, music to listen to. It's going to be a great night.
And Friday, all the fun keeps going. If you're bored or if you leave the downtown area hungry, it's your own darn fault on Friday, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's going to be food up and down the street. And in addition, we have a lot of great local restaurants for people to eat at.
And tell us some of the highlights of the stuff going on Friday.
So we have tons of music going on Friday, all the way up and down Water Street. We'll have kids activities. More will be available on the 400 West Water Street block this year. That's the Sugar Bowl block. So there's going to be a lot of moving around this year. I think it'll be a lot of fun. The beverage garden will be open as usual, down by the Vestherheim again. And so that should be a great time too.
And then the really big day coming up on Saturday, all sorts of stuff going on. Run down the highlights for Saturday's events that will be going on at Nordic Fest.
Yeah. So Saturday starts with the Elvalopet. I believe that's at 7:30. There's still time to register for that. So if you haven't, go ahead and get yourself registered. Then, of course, the Grand Parade is a huge highlight of Nordic Fest, going down Water Street. That'll be at 10:30 in the morning. And of course, there'll be music again. All the food booths will be open. Lutefisk eating contest, if you so choose, will be happening that afternoon, along with a bags tournament like normal. And yeah, a lot of great stuff on Saturday.
And it doesn't, a festival like this doesn't happen. We mentioned the board putting in a lot of work and a lot of volunteers putting in a lot of work, but there's a lot of folks in the community that financially support the Nordic Fest. How important is that to keep this festival going?
Oh, yeah, we certainly couldn't do it without the financial contributions as well. I mean, it's great to have volunteers, and we certainly do need that, but we so appreciate the support the community has given us, from our top 4 level sponsors down to even the $10 or $25 donations. Every donation is very important to the continuity of the fest.
And for those that feel like giving a helping hand this weekend, I'd imagine there's some opportunities to do so even this week.
Always, yeah. Check nordicfest.com to sign up to be a volunteer. There are spots still available. I know Lefsa is looking, the Beverage Garden is looking. So those are the 2 major spots that we could really, really use some help in if you are so willing.
And anything folks need to know regarding Fest buttons, Fest programs, anything folks need to know other than the stuff we've already touched on?
Yeah, absolutely. So our headquarters is down at the Chamber of Commerce, and that's where you can buy all your fest-related items. We have T-shirts, mugs, hats, programs, and buttons, like you mentioned. It's also air-conditioned, so feel free to stop in and say hello during what's supposed to be a very hot week.
Anything we're missing? Anything else you want to pass on to the masses as a fun time of year gets underway tonight in Decorah?
Yeah, don't forget the fireworks on Saturday night as well. That'll be kind of the sort of end of the night there. The band will continue to play a little bit after that, but that sort of signifies the end of the fest.
Arianna, give us one final invitation to partake in the fun, which is Nordic Fest.
Oh yes, please come downtown and join us this weekend. Tonight, starting Thursday through Saturday. You will not regret it. Your stomach will not regret it. Yeah, come and have a great time with us.
Arianna, we appreciate you taking some time talking to us about Nordic Fest. I know you're quite busy this time of year, so any time we can get the Fest Board president on for even a few minutes, we appreciate that. Thanks for taking the time, and best of luck to you this weekend, and stay cool.
Thank you so much.
Arianna Cervantes is the president of the Nordic Fest, starting tonight in Decorah at 6:45. It's a busy weekend in Decorah. Nordic Fest 2023 beginning today, and obviously a busy place will be the Vestherheim Norwegian American Museum. Chivonne Marlow joins us like she usually does. Nordic Fest weekend, and a lot of things going on at Vestherheim this weekend, but a very exciting, long-awaited opening for the new Commons building coming up today, from what I understand. Chivonne, tell us about that.
Thank you, Darren. We have the long-awaited, as you said, soft opening of our new Vestherheim Commons building, and we're so excited to share that with the public. So the public can come in today between 9 and 5 and walk around a little bit, take a look at the new space. It won't have everything in it yet, but you'll be able to get a really good feel for how the building flows. You'll be able to go up on the 2nd floor and look down at the map of Norway from the oculus in the floor. The 3rd floor, you'll be able to see where the collections access space will be, which when we get that going, we'll have different objects in there that classes and people who are taking the classes can come in and get up close and personal with different artifacts from our collection.
And what will this building allow Vestherheim to do that you didn't have the ability to do previously?
Oh, that's a great question. It's going to allow us really to have some great flexible use space, both indoors and out. We'll be able to host more classes. We'll be able to hold events down the road. We'll be able to rent the space so the community can use it as well. That collections access space, like I said, will allow groups to get up close to some really unique objects from our collection. And it's just going to give us more space. So we'll be able to host more things. We will have a patio outdoors that we can have music on, we can have events out there. And the really cool thing is that there is a pad for a food truck back there. So we'll be able to do some of that as well. And we're really looking forward to that.
And when you go back from the original idea to build this commons building to now, how long of a process has it been, and how rewarding is it for everybody at Vestherheim to see it come to fruition today?
I'm not even sure how long of a process it's been. I started a year ago in March, and it was right before the Carey building came down. And it's really been an amazing thing to watch, because they did preserve part of the inside wall of the Carey building. So there's some limestone and some brick in there that really incorporated well with the locally harvested timbers and the concrete work and everything else that's in there. It's been a labor of love, but I think it'll really be worth it. And hopefully the public thinks so as well.
And obviously that's pretty exciting, but it's always been exciting at Vestherheim this time of year with Nordic Fest weekend. And when we're talking Vestherheim and Nordic Fest, we talk about a lot of demonstrators coming to town this weekend. Give us some highlights of the folks and their talents that will be showing off this weekend.
Oh, we've got some great demonstrators. And some of these folks, I've got to say, are just so loyal. They volunteer to come back every year, and we're so lucky to have them. So we have a lot of woodworkers. We have people doing wood bending, wood carving, some things on lathes, and we have a forger or a blacksmith. He brings his entire forge here to work on. We'll have all sorts of fiber arts, so knitting, weaving, spinning, knoll bending, and then rose maulers and jewelry makers and knife makers, as well as some paper cutting and all sorts of stuff. Oh, go ahead.
I interrupted you. My bad.
That's all right. But we've got a great lineup. I think it's going to be really, really, there'll be something for everybody to see.
And when you think of all the demonstrators you got this weekend, because you think of Norwegian, you pretty much think of rose mauling, but all the demonstrations that will be there this weekend, it's really a wide variety of things, and it's really more than meets the eye if you're just looking at an arm's length distance, correct?
Absolutely correct. We like to invite folks that participate in our folk art school classes. And as you said, a lot of people think rose mauling when they think Norwegian folk art, but we've got classes with such a wide variety of different styles of folk art. And really there is something, that everybody can enjoy, even kids. We have a lot of activities for kids, both, during Nordic Fest and through the folk art school.
And of course, many other things going on at Vestherheim this weekend. I believe the Norwegian American Genealogical Center is going to be on hand. Is that correct?
They will be on site. We're happy to have them back every year. We've got a local person, Eden Aim, playing her hardanger fiddle. We have Vidar Skrede playing his violin. We have the Rochester Flute Choir coming back. And one of the things that hasn't been done for a couple of years, and we're bringing back this year, is the Scandinavian hymn sing. And we used to have that on Sunday morning. This year it's going to be on Saturday afternoon, and it'll be in Bethania Church. And we're really excited to bring that back. And I think there's a great selection of hymns that have been curated by a couple of local pastors, Pastor Jenny Olson and Pastor Rolf Svano and Dr. Kimberly Svano. And something new this year is we have a Reader's Theater production of Ragnarok, Doom of the Gods, and that's going to be exciting. We also have a woman coming to demonstrate kulak, which is a form of musical cow calling. And that'll be
okay.
So when you would call the cattle home from the mountains, you would use this musical cow calling that would carry across distances. And of course, the Skalborg Vikings are going to be back on site. They're always really popular. They blow the horn and people just pour out of everywhere to watch their battle demonstrations and hear about what they do. We have a book signing and painting demonstration from Sven Lindauer, who paints scenes from Norwegian Americans, kind of some, some old scenes, rustic scenes, and they're really, really beautiful. We've got the music jam as usual, where people can come participate and play violins or fiddles or other instruments at the amphitheater. So please check the schedule of events. We've got a lot going on, and I'm sure there are plenty of things that I forgot to mention.
And what's the best way people can keep track of all the stuff that's going on? Because you mentioned a plethora of activities this weekend. What's the best way for people to keep track of that?
Look at the Vestherheim website, which is vestherheim.org, and look also on the Nordic Fest website or in the Nordic Fest program. We will have big sandwich board signs so everybody can kind of get a handle on the schedule of events. And if you have a favorite demonstrator or a favorite different sort of entertainment, we'll have those on signs as well so that everybody knows where to find what they're looking for.
And what do people need to know about admission charges, et cetera, with the events you got coming up?
Admission is free on Thursday.
Okay.
So all day Thursday, feel free to come in. That's a great day to look around the Commons and then look around the museum. On Friday, admission will be as usual, which is $12 adults, $10 seniors, and $5 for children. And then Saturday during the parade, they'll be handing out free passes for the museum. So make sure you get your free pass. That'll get you in all day Saturday as well.
And more reasons than candy to show up for the parade on Saturday.
Absolutely.
And of course, generous donors help you do a lot of what you're doing at Vestherheim. And I understand there's some news regarding those who have donated to the museum and your ability to do future programming and future events. Tell us about that.
We have some really, really, really loyal donors who have made not only the Commons possible, the new Commons building, but also they have provided for different events around the Vestherheim campus. They've given support for that. They've given support for some of the demonstrators to come, and we're really, really grateful to them.
Anything we're missing? Anything that's left in your notebook or maybe in your Word document on your computer there, Chivonne?
We would love to see you. We're always happy to have visitors here. And if anybody, I am the volunteer coordinator, so if anybody has ever thought about volunteering at Vestherheim, it's easy to get involved, and there are things for every age and every skill level. And I'd love to talk with anybody who would like to do that.
Well, congratulations first on the soft opening for the Commons building. And I know it's going to be a busy weekend for everyone at Vestherheim, but you're an important part of the Nordic Fest, always have been, always will be. And you're an important part of the Decorah community. Chivonne, we appreciate you taking a few moments on a busy week for you and everybody at Vestherheim, and enjoy the Nordic Fest.
Thank you so much. And if I could really quickly just say one more thing, and that is thank you to all the volunteers that come from far and wide to help make everything we do possible. We are incredibly lucky and incredibly grateful to them.
Chivonne Marlow from Vestherheim, soft opening for the new Commons building today. Activities all weekend long. Head to vestherheim.org for a schedule of all of the information. Couple of representatives from the Decorah Police Department joining us this morning. The new Decorah Police Chief, Tricia Thein, as well as Scott Herman from the Police Department. We'll talk to Scott a little bit later on regarding National Night Out next week. But Tricia, we'll get to know you as you're on the job for officially a week. And I guess a week today as we have this conversation. Tell us about yourself. Give us your background. Let's get to know you.
Thank you so much for having me here this morning. I'm really excited to be in the Decorah area. I started my career actually not far from here, way back in the late 90s over in Waukon, but spent the last 20 years down in Marshalltown working for the Marshalltown Police Department. So it feels a little bit like coming home, getting back up to this area.
What made this opportunity the right one to pursue for you?
Well, quite honestly, it gets me a lot closer to my family. So it's really a combination of being able to do the job that I love so much with that comfort of being close to family. And as you know, my family ages, my parents get older, just being there for them to be a good resource and support for them was ideal. So it just really was like the perfect storm, if you will. All the stars aligned and this opportunity became available, and I could not help but put my hat in the race for sure.
You've spent over 2 decades in law enforcement. How has law enforcement remained the same in that time? How has the job changed in that time?
I think the brotherhood and the sisterhood experienced in a law enforcement family has remained the same. Those bonds are really close. We're seeing some really traumatic, life-changing events. That does create a sense of family truly with your coworkers. I think what's changed and truly enhanced that family relationship, though, is the level of accountability that we have for one another, that we're really using appropriate coping mechanisms to deal with the stressors of the job. We're not accepting maladaptive coping mechanisms that we see in our peers anymore, and that we do have that duty to intervene, the new laws that are required of us, that puts that onus of responsibility of just holding each other accountable and being that voice of reason when the job can just be too much sometimes.
What makes a good police officer? What makes a good police chief?
I think, well, in my opinion, my humble opinion, if you will, I think it really is truly recognizing that not one person ever has all the right answers, that it is a team effort. We all come to work diligently daily, putting our vest and our badge on to do the best we possibly can for the community we serve. And it really takes all of us coming to the table, all hands on deck to get that mission accomplished. And that also includes members of our community. So we need their support. They need to be a resource for us, and we want to be that same for them.
And I know kind of nationwide, recruitment of law enforcement has been a little bit of an issue. It's been a struggle, small communities, large communities, etc. What's kept you in this profession as long as you have?
It really is just a passion of mine. I think that the realization that the vest and the badge and the gun belt does not protect me or my family from life ambushes. And we all experience that in one way, shape, or form. And I really just want to truly help people. It sounds so cliche, but that really is the case. Crime and punishment affect us all. And so it takes all of our voices coming to the table, having the conversations, the hard conversations, and always striving to be better at what it is we're doing in the services that we can provide within our community. And I really, really am just committed and passionate about this job. And really, I have high expectations of those that I work with and high expectations of good services delivered to those within our community.
And what have you learned here in Decorah in your first week on the job?
That I made the right choice is what I would say. It's a beautiful community. When we just speak about it geographically, everybody refers to this as God's country, and that's not a joke. It truly is. You can't step out your front door and look at the scenery and not just be in awe of just the beauty that Northeast Iowa brings. But even deeper than that, just the core of the people, the heart of Decorah. Folks have been so receptive, so warm. I can just be standing out on the sidewalk talking to somebody. I had a lady and her child walk by the other day, and she's like, "Welcome to Decorah. Thank you for being here." That type of stuff is just really, really endearing. It just confirmed to me that I made the right choice. I'm going to be very happy here.
You served a community for your previous spot of 25,000. I know you started in Waukon. You served a community of 25,000 in Marshalltown. Now you're back to a smaller community. Does the population of a community change anything related to law enforcement, or is it pretty much the job is what the job is?
I truly think policing, when it comes to enforcement action, obviously is the same. Speeding is speeding. OWI is OWI. Domestic violence is domestic violence. And now we have some other things we have to look at, though. The smaller the community, generally, the smaller the resource pool, and the more important establishing relationships and working with other neighboring agencies becomes, because we're going to have some shared resources to offer folks within our community. So, I think that I don't want to say that coming to a small town has any negative components. In fact, I'm very excited about that. What I found to be a challenge and will continue to be a challenge is just the available resources. So working together, developing new resource ideas, figuring out ways that we can support one another, and each area maybe comes up with an expertise, and then we can draw on that when it's necessary for our community. There are some great things I learned in the larger communities that I'd like to see brought to smaller towns. The impact program, for instance, in Marshalltown, social workers embedded within the police department to actually take care of those non-police related matters that police oftentimes get called to. And a lot of case management that's required on that end. So really taking that responsibility from police and putting it back where it belongs, which is it within the social working network for the state.
I guess this is probably an all-encompassing wrap-up final question for you, Tricia. What are your goals as police chief of Decorah?
Oh, wow. To just really become invested and embedded within this agency and within this community. And then, my long-term retirement plans would be to stay here. So obviously I want to be able to, when the time is right, down the road, significant time down the road, pass the baton to able-bodied hands, and then live within a community that has a high-functioning police department with high services rendered to those within the community as necessary. So yeah, my goals are to just become a member of this community and embrace it as my home.
All right, Tricia, we'll turn the conversation over to Scott Herman. I know we usually talk to Scott this time of year. Coming up next week is a National Night Out. And Scott, tell us about National Night Out. I know it's something that people hear about, but maybe they don't know about it in great detail. Tell us about it.
So this is actually our third year of doing this here locally, but it's actually the 40th anniversary of National Night Out. So it's a pretty big event. It's a great way for the community and police to get together. And actually, goal number one is just to get together, have a good night, have a good time, get to know each other. Goal number two is, hey, these are real people out here in the community. These are real people here in the police department, and we can work together. So we've got a lot of new officers in our department, and this is a great way for the public to get to know the new officers, including the chief. We're going to throw her right in the fire right immediately with Nordic Fest and then National Night Out. So a great way to meet the officers. You can meet the new ones. You can meet the old ones. This year, we are pretty excited. I try to do something new every year. This year, we're going to have a pizza party. So we've got some local establishments around the area that are going to donate some pizza. So we have pizza for everybody. We've got a live band again this year. We went ahead and booked the Freeport Social Club, which is a local band, and if you haven't heard of them, they're up and coming. They're a fun band to come out and listen to. But again, we've got games for the kids to play. We've got emergency vehicles from all over the area, so you can come and meet law enforcement. You can come and meet firefighters, look at their vehicles, ask them questions, and just have a good night.
And when will all this take place, and where will it take place?
So it's right after Nordic Fest again. We just get done with Nordic Fest and just get things put away, and then boom, it's right. It's next Tuesday, August 1st, and then it's from 5 p.m. until 7. So it's right over dinner time, and then it's up at Phelps Park here in Decorah.
And you mentioned it's a good way for the new officers to get to know the community and vice versa. How important is establishing that community from a police officer perspective and from a community perspective, knowing the fact that we're all in this together?
We are all in this together, and it's extremely important. The older I get, the more important I see that it is. And I use this speech all the time, is that, we work with the community, because the person that I'm talking to today and through law enforcement connections, I'm going to be standing right next to them at the school play, or I'm going to be standing next to them in the restaurant. And so it's important to establish those connections, just to say, hey, we're real people out here doing the job. We're helping you get through life. We're all doing it together.
And any admission charge, any thing people need to know on that end of things for next Tuesday night's event?
I didn't hear that question.
Any admission charge?
Oh, absolutely not. Everything is free. No admission charge. It's the ideal night. For 3 years now, we've done, this will be our third year, and it's always been great weather, so we're knocking on wood for that. But yep, come out, have a great night, meet some people, meet some friends there, meet some people you don't know, have some pizza, and enjoy the music.
Anything that we're missing about National Night Out, Scott? Anything else we need to pass on?
You know, the only thing I can say is that it's truly, it's no strings attached. It's just a really good night to go out and have fun, meet people. Usually by the end of the night, everybody's coming up and they just all have had a great time. So I really would love to see everybody out there.
And you can't beat that. Tricia, anything else you want to pass on, as long as you got the forum this morning?
No, we'd just like to tell people to have a safe and fun Nordic Fest celebration, of course, this weekend coming up. Reach out to the police department if we can help with anything. And then I look forward to meeting all kinds of new folks over this weekend and then at the National Night Out.
All right. We want to thank Tricia Thein, the new Decorah Police Chief, and Scott Herman from the Decorah Police Department for taking some time to join us this morning on Our Town. A mungatuck to our guest on the program this morning, Arianna Cervantes, the president of the Nordic Fest board. Fest gets underway 6:45 tonight. Chivonne Marlow from Vestherheim, soft opening for the new Commons building, and a plethora of activities going on at Vestherheim all Nordic Fest weekend. And thanks to Tricia Thein, the new Decorah Police Chief, getting to know her this morning, and also Scott Herman from the Decorah Police Department talking about National Night Out next week. Don't forget, we put these shows on YouTube each and every week. We realize summer's busy. You got a lot of things going on. You got volunteer things you're going to. Your kids are busy. You got family vacations, this, that, and a lot of the other stuff as well. We realize you can't always be near a streaming device or a radio at 9 o'clock on a Thursday morning, but we want to bring the interesting people we get to talk to you at your schedule. If you're out on YouTube, go to 727 Our Town program. That's a great way to get the information. Also, another great way to do it is just, well, go to our Facebook pages, 94.9 and 99.1 The River, Hawk Rock 100.5, Bluff Country 103.5 KNEI, and Classic Hits 104.7 KVIK. We've put the links up at those sites. Just another way we try to reach out to you on your schedule here at LA Communications. Thanks to Decorah Bank and Trust, our sponsor. A thank you to our guest, and most importantly, we thank you, that's right, you, for tuning in, for logging on, or for watching Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River.